answering to the 7 questions of Arjuna in third and fourth two verses, all these questions are put. Questions are answered. Slowly, Lord Krishna going to answer all these questions. Third sloka. The Blessed Lord said, Brahman is the imperishable, the supreme. Its essential nature is called self-knowledge. The offering to the gods which causes existence and manifestation of beings and which also sustains them is called action. In fourth, Lord says, Adhibhutam ksharo bhavaha purusascha adhidaivatam adhijagyo hamevatra dehe dehavritambara. Adhibhuta, knowledge of the elements, pertains to my perishable nature, kshara bhava, perishable nature, that is Maya, and the Purusha or the soul is the Adhidaiva. I alone am the Adhijagya here in this body. O best among the embodied men, this is how Adhibhuta is known as the perishable nature, the changing universe of the 5 elements with all its objects, all the material objects, everything that has birth, the changing world of names and forms. The world is nothing but names and forms, which are ever changing. The name is ever changing. How? We have one name, we don't change our names. How it is said, names are ever changing. And form also, I am the same form. In common parlance, we don't see the changes. Generally, my name doesn't change. I am ever Swami Premanand. And my form is ever, as long as my body is there, the form is body form. So how it is called changeable and kshara? Yes. थोड़ा जोर से.
स्वामी जी used to say one line, एक लड़की जो वो उसका बहन थी और शादी होने का बाद वो तीसरे का पत्नी हो गई. So if that we use logical analysis.
Exactly, the example is given only for this. The same girl is daughter of someone. She is called daughter, And wife of someone, the husband cannot say my daughter. Husband will call her my darling. The child will say my mother. She cannot say my daughter, my wife. And the father will say my daughter, brother will say my sister. So how, without being changed, everything is being changing. And other example, the same person, when is in the house, he is the head of the house, and he goes to the school as a teacher. Students call him dear sir. He goes to the market, he becomes the customer. When he hears something, he is called hearer. When he speaks something, he is called speaker. Sees something, seer. Hears something, hearer. Smells something, smeller. So every moment, according to our actions, our names change. Names are given according to the actions and qualities. Guna karma vibhagasaha. According to the qualities and the nature of action, the names are given to the person. So names are ever changing, because we always change our actions. So our names also change. So regarding form, every moment everything is changing. The child becomes young, the young becomes old, old becomes very old and incapable. So every moment the body is changing. What we are unable to recognize because of our vicharhinata. Vicharhinata means not contemplating, not thinking of what we say, what we hear, what we speak, what we do. We don't give attention to it. So it is said, Shrunuvan api na shrunuvan. Though we hear not. We see not. Haphazard. Our actions are haphazard. Why? Because our mind is so flittering. It never stands steadily on one object. So it goes on changing. So the senses also go on changing, and the informations also haphazardly go on changing. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is steady. So this is the law of nature. Our form also changes, our name also changes. In this way, names and forms are subject to change. And the whole universe, whole creation is constituted by names and forms only. Yes?
So should we understand, Swamiji, relatively the names and forms combined is controlled by gunas. So if the gunas are not there, there is no old and there is young age. So like that.
Yes, gunas change because the qualities means it has got different many meanings. Quality means your nature. Nature means originally three qualities, that is sattva, rajas, tamas. So when they become imbalanced, then only action is possible. When they are in a steady, unchanging position, no actions are possible. So, nahi kaschid kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit. Nobody can ever be without doing anything. Every moment we do something. So, what is karma? God has, Lord Krishna has explained, Visarga karma sangita. Visarga means creation. Visarga means offerings. That also comes under action. Offerings are actions only. Whatever you do, whatever we do by mind, intellect, ego, prana and senses, everything is called action. So, change is called action. Steadiness is not called action. So when the gunas change, then only karma is possible. So that is taken in different ways, 1001 ways. So here basically visarga means offerings. Whatever we do, offering means we always offer something to other. That is relativity, law of relativity. Transaction. We give something and get something. That is our life. That is called relative life. So, basically offering also means not only to gods. Of course, when we offer to gods, the higher luminous beings, they give us something in return, and that is grossified by the yajna, that is fire, and we get it. So in this way transaction goes on, and the whole universe is sustained by this yajna. Yajna is called offering. So offering to the God means it holds all the kinds of actions. Relatively, without giving something, we cannot get something. Every action has its reaction, opposite and equal reaction. So that is called offering also. Without offering, you cannot get something. Of course, mainly the luminous beings and the earthly beings. The in-between mediocre is yajna, thereby karma is understood. Karma means offering. In this way, telling Visarga Karma Sangita, God has explained everything. It has so many elaborate meaning. And here he says, Adhibhuta, Adhibhuta, the perishable nature, which is subject to change, changing universe of the five elements with all its objects. When it changes, it gets accumulated and grossifies, and then matters are formed. So, the Adhibhuta is nature or the primordial Shakti, the energy which is ever changing, which is consisted of three qualities. Mula Prakriti, that is called my nature. Nature. How it is nature of the Absolute? This is also a very, very deep, meaningful question. Why nature changes and how this nature belongs to the Absolute? That's how in Vishnu Sahasranam we have thousands of different names, and one is Sandhiman, one which has gaps relatively. It is seen as changing. Without gaps, nothing can be changed. Sandhiman. And Medhaja, it is born out of the mind which is ever restless. So, mind is basically ideas only, vasana, and that vasana is not there, it is not conditional, it is unconditional. So, just as we see something instead of some real object, just as the mirage, water in the mirage, or the blueness of the sky, the blueness of pure water, all these are not there, yet we see it. Similarly, these vasanas, they are not there in the Absolute, but it is assumed or superimposed. So, though it is not the nature of the Absolute, yet it is assumed as such. So, in behavioral world, relative world, we have to say the nature belongs to the Absolute. Absolute, it looks like this. That is called world, the creation. Why it is so? Of course, this why question should not be put. But yet, we put this. Why it is so? So some answers relevant to the question, because you have asked, so something should be answered. This is the nature of the transparency, purity, which is absolutely transparent, pure, one, it will have such nature. Just as we see in the crystal, the prism, or in any opaque platform. We see our shadows or the reflections in the mirror because of its transparency. We don't see it in the earth, clay. We don't see it anywhere else. Sometimes in water because of its purity, and mostly in mirror because of its purity. Purity means clarity, oneness, dustlessness. So in this way, the nature belongs to the Absolute. So this is how Lord says, it is my nature. Adhibhutam ksharo bhava. Bhutas, the elements. Bhutas has got different meanings, but mainly we take in philosophy, bhutas means 5 basic elements which are the cause for the mixture of many things. We call it panchikaran. It creates groups of 5s. Panchak, it creates groups of 5. All the 5 elements will be there in different ratios. So the forms are made by panchikaran, by mixture. So in this way, this is called perishable nature. Ksharauhava. Kshara means perishable. Akshara, imperishable. I am imperishable. That's why I am so transparent, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. That is my nature. Though it is not there, yet it is assumed and superimposed on the Absolute because we have to deal something or other with the Absolute. To express it, we have to use some words. These are the best words possible which can indicate the Absolute. So these words are indicative, symbolic, though meaningless, yet it has some indicative meanings. So these words are used for the Absolute. In this way, adhibhutam ksharo bhava purusaschadhidaivatam. Purusaha. Adhidaiva, Purusa literally means that by which everything is filled. Pure seti iti Purusaha, one who abides in a abode, in an abode, he is called Purusaha. Pure seti iti. Seti, sayan karna. To sleep. Sleep means to abide. So, adhibhuta, adhidaiva. Adhidaiva is called Purusa. Literally means that which, by which everything is filled. Pura, to fill. That also the meaning of Pura. Purna. Purna also is fullness, the totality. So in that way, one who is filled everywhere, that means ever present unconditionally, everywhere, at all time, in all conditions. He is present everywhere. So he is called Purusaha. And the other meaning also, he abides in the chamber of the heart, Chidakas. That's how he is present in every being. Every name and forms belong to the Absolute only. So he abides everywhere. That also means he fulfills everywhere, everything. So he is called Purnaha, the whole totality, wholeness, whole totality. That is how the meaning of Purusaha. So that is what Adhidaiva. Adhidaiva. It may also mean that which lives in this body, which we have discussed now. It is Hiranyagarbha, or the universal soul, or the womb of everything, the substratum of everything, sustainer from whom all living beings derive their sense powers. It is the witnessing consciousness. Witnessing consciousness. That witnessing consciousness is not pure consciousness. That's why it is called witnessed, witnessing. So his presence, which is otherwise also called the causal body, the cause for everything, but itself is causeless, that presence, that existence is called the witnessing factor, and that is called Adhidaiva Purusaha Adhidaivasya. That is called Purusaha, because it fulfills the whole creation, ever present at every time, in every place, in all conditions, by all means. So it is called Purusaha. Adhijagya, consciousness, the presiding deity of sacrifice, the Lord of all works and sacrifice is Vishnu, Jagya Purusaha. Vishnu, by literal meaning, who is all pervading. So whatever is offered anywhere, by any means, by anyone, it is offered to the absolute causal body, that is witnessing factor. In Sanskrit they say, Akasat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagara sarvadevo namaskara kesavam pratigacchati. Just as the water fallen from the sky, from the clouds, get collected by some means somewhere, and finally reaches the source, the ocean. Similarly, all these actions, whatever we do, whatever offerings we do, that is called yajna. That transaction between two, giving and taking, action and reaction, they belong to the absolute witness, Purusha. And in 15th chapter we shall see the absolute is called Purushottama. He is the best among the Purushas, individual beings. He is the collective form. So he is called Purushottama. And in this way, consciousness, the presiding deity of sacrifice, the Lord of all works, Naham karta hari karta, Jat kinchit. Whatever I do, I am not the doer, but doer is He. How does He do all these actions? How does He perform all the actions in all the beings? Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. By my order, by my command, under my control, my nature, this witnessing power orders means activates the imbalanced state of the nature, and then the whole creation starts working. So he is the real doer, whereas we falsely, misunderstandingly, ignorantly, we claim I am the doer. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. All the actions are done by nature, by imbalancing the three qualities, and by the order of, by control with the nature, the Purusha does everything, and he becomes the witness of the game. And the ignorant fellow, he thinks I am the doer. It is just like the puppet play, puppet show. Puppets are unable to do anything. We call it Kathputli. Kathputli. The director, the controller does everything. But if the puppet says, the idol says, I am the doer, is it not foolishness? Is it not misunderstanding? Wherefrom he gets this ego of doership? Totally wrong. Assumption only. So nobody is doer here. In this way, Adhijagya, the Lord of all works and sacrifice, is called Vishnu. Lord Vishnu identifies himself with all sacrificial acts. Sahajagya praja srishtva purovacha prajapati anena prasavisadva esvastu ishtakamadhuk. All you can achieve, whatever you need, whatever you wish, you can achieve by mutual transactions. And the mediocre is Yajna. So Yajna Purusha is all-pervading self. So that is called Vishnu. when he created these creatures by the power of his ever-changing nature, he created also the mediocre to have relationship between every two, and mainly between the subtler beings and the grosser beings. So in this way, Yajna Purusha is called Adhijagya. Vishnu is called Adhijagya. Yajna is verily Vishnu, says the Taittiriya Samhita of the Vedas. Lord Krishna says, I am the presiding deity in all acts of sacrifice in the body. All sacrifices are done by the body, and so it may be said that they rest in the body only. So body is a form or an abode or pura, a chamber, where that Purusha is abiding, all pervading being. He abides in every being. So body is also called the sacrifice. He is the doer of the sacrifice. Body means whole total structure of the identity of individual being, including the subconscious mind, ego, intellect, mind, and prana, senses.
Five koshas.
Pardon? 5 koshas, all the fives which are present in the body. Panchaka, all the 5-fold units. 5-fold units. They are everywhere present in the body, so body is called sacrifice. So he has almost answered everything. Now he says how the steady-minded person remembers me at the time of departure from this body, death. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra sansaya. I think we shall see it tomorrow. It will take little time, but see, antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram, freed from the body, and whosoever leaving the body goes forth remembering me alone at the time of death, he attains my being. There is no doubt about this. We shall discuss it in detail tomorrow. How it is possible when we have seen at the time of death everything is forgotten, the mind doesn't work, the intellect keeps quiet. It enters into some unconscious state. Prana also almost stops working. Body becomes actionless. At that time, how one can remember the God? how it is possible. This we shall see tomorrow. In detail, how it is possible. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavaseshyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गीता माता की जय। हरि ओम।